This is the Eastern Shore High School Football Preview Show.
Week 4 of the high school football season here on UTV 44. Getting ready for a big matchup between McGill and Baker. Good evening. I'm Jim Cox, my partner Dan Brennan, as we get ready for this exciting 7A matchup here tonight. But Dan, we got to, as we always do, look back to last week, and we had the Daphne Blunt game, and we talked during the pregame, and we talked all during the game. We were really impressed in hearing such great things about this Blunt team. We had seen Daphne the week before against Saraland. Wow. Blunt comes out and really lowers the boom on the Trojans.
Yeah, early in the season, you're still really trying to get a handle on who's who. Coaches seem to have they can hear the whispers on the railroad tracks maybe a little bit better than we can, so we kind of lean on them for information. But I don't think anybody saw that coming. Now, could Blunt compete with Daphne after we saw Daphne lose a heartbreaker to Saraland? Sure, I think everybody was in agreement. This is a very talented Blunt team. And I think that Coach Hurt had them going in the right direction. Here comes Lev Holly. He'll be the first to tell you, I've got a lot of good players. But again, what we saw on the field last week was quite a surprise.
And really, hats off to those Blunt kids that play. I mean, Kadarius Toney, what a game he had. I mean, just we'll talk more about him.
He may still be out there.
Yeah, still slinging it around. He had a great night. So impressed with that, and we'll see how Daphne bounces back here at Robertsdale this week, and Blunt continues to just impress so many people to start the season. Hey, as we look at this matchup here tonight, I think really one thing that strikes us, and just stand here, two coaches, two teams, a lot of respect for one another, and two coaches really like one another.
Yeah, they've been coaching against each other for a long time, all the way back Prattville-Davidson days, right? Where
we did a lot of those games in the playoffs.
We did. And I'll tell you one thing, too, is, talking to these guys, coaching is obviously a fraternity. Not everybody is on each other's Christmas list, but at the same time, they have a pretty clear understanding of what each is going through. And these two guys are really, great leaders of their teams and their schools. And it's just nice to see.
All right, let's talk about why we're here. We're at Eastern Shore Hyundai tonight for our pregame show, and here trying to give away some money, and both teams representing well here tonight.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. You show up, you represent. Baker brought the band. They sound pretty good, right? And what you do is you show up here tonight, and then if you are deemed as the team in the school with the highest spirit, you get $4,000, and that's divvied out by Eastern Shore Toyota. Have I got that right?
$4,000 for second place.
Second, so first place is the 12. Then you've got, it's 20 in all, 12, 4, 2, and 2. So, 4 schools are going to walk away with a lot of money. We've already seen some great turnouts for this one, so we can expect the competition. We're only in week 3, so we can expect the competition to get even crazier as we keep on coming up here and pre-recording our shows at Eastern Shore Hyundai and Eastern Shore Toyota.
Yeah, and we're expecting big crowds throughout the year. A couple schools have clued us in that we're bringing like the whole student body. We'll be anxious to see that one. We're just about 30 minutes away from kickoff tonight. McGill-Tulane going up against Baker. McGill comes in with a record of 3-0. Baker comes in with a record of 1-2. But I think quickly, Dan, don't let that record fool you.
No, and these are, look at how far the Baker program has come in such a short period of time. This is a team, though, that lost a great quarterback, and a great running back is down right now, though he'll be back later in the season. We'll talk more about that to Danny Smith.
He comes up after this. We'll take a timeout, get back and get you ready more for Baker and McGill right here tonight on UTV 44. Baker Band here, getting us ready for high school football tonight here on UTV 44, the Green and Phillips Injury Lawyer Game of the Week. The Baker Hornets taking on the McGill-Tulane Yellow Jackets. Danny Smith, head coach, Gavin Laundrie, outside linebacker, here with us to talk about tonight's matchup. And, Coach, let's go back prior to the season, news starts kind of leaking out that Coach French is going to retire. You're going to become the head coach. I mean, we were all so impressed with what Jack had done in helping to turn the program around. And then Dan and I were, I think, even more excited to find out you were going to become the head coach at Baker. Talk to us about that process a little bit.
You know, when you follow somebody like Jack French, that's some big shoes to fill. I mean, Jack's won numerous state championships in the state of Mississippi, and it happened so fast. I mean, it was in the middle of July, and he calls me off to the side and told me he's getting ready to retire. And he told me that, you know, I need to go talk to the principal, Mr. Richardson, and man, it just happened. He offered me the job, and I took over, and
no inkling it was coming?
Absolutely not. We all thought he was going out the semester break because we knew they had enough time in to retire, but he got it figured out. They had enough sick days to leave 1 year early, and he said, "Coach, it's time to spend some time with my grandkids."
Yeah.
So that's what he
Always
did.
planning. He's always got the plan
And
going.
I had an idea the grandkids were behind it too,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
he really doted on them.
Yeah.
So as soon as you got the job, your laundry list must have been a mile long. How did you negotiate through that, and who came to your aid?
Oh man, I tell you, we got a great support staff at Baker with Coach Agnew, our AD, and Clem Richardson, our principal, and you know, over 100-something players from the team, and all the assistant coaches pulled together and worked as a family. And I mean, Baker High School is a special place, man, and I love that place. And all these kids are like they're my kids, you know, and they all just came together. We didn't have a lot of time to really change anything, and you know, and just got to go with it. And then you can imagine you only got a couple weeks of practice, and it's game time. I mean, it happened fast.
So when did you decide on Tom Cruise at outside linebacker?
You know, I can't say enough good things about this young man right here. You know, he's a little bit undersized, but he can play outside, inside linebacker. He's at practice all the time. Every single day, he stays late. He comes early. He loves to lift weights, and he's a phenomenal gymnast. I can run and do all these flips and stuff. I mean, my back hurts watching him. And,
Well, he was very good in The Firm. If you remember the escape, the escape scene in The Firm, he had a lot of gymnastics
Mission
like
Impossible.
moves. Yeah, exactly.
But this young man has grown up, and he has really been a leader of our team, and I cannot be more proud of Gavin.
We're proud to meet him.
Yeah. So Gavin, so what was the players' reaction when we found out Coach French was retiring, and then Coach Smith was going to be the head coach?
No, well, it was really devastating. Like
The news that
really-
Coach French was leaving, not devastating that Danny was going to become the head coach, right?
it was like we all love Coach French, but it's like he was really like a father figure to us, and it was me. I was crying. Like I still miss him. Like, but Coach Danny, he's also like a father figure to me, but at the same time, he's like way different. He's so hype. He gets his hype, and he.
Yeah, Coach French was a lot of things. Hype wasn't one of them.
Yeah, really. But the words that he says would get to you. Like, he was a really good speaker. Like, he was a really good person.
Yeah, we loved the few years we got to work with him. All right, so injury bug and tough schedule has kind of been it's been a rough start for you so far with those combination of those two things.
You know, that's part of football. I mean, injuries happen, and just so we're unfortunate that it happened to us. But, you know, we're not going to make any excuses about it. We're going to show up Friday night and play hard, you know, and everybody goes through a 3-game stretch here in our region. And McGill's going to have it, and Murphy, and everybody in our region. You know, I keep referring, it's the SEC West. I mean, you play Murphy and Theodore and McGill back to back, and it's tough. And you better be ready to play every single Friday night now.
You better have some depth on your roster because you're going to have some injuries come through there.
That's right. I mean, we played Murphy. I mean, it was like a war. I mean, we was right there 20-14 in the fourth quarter, and it was a very physical football game. And after that game was over, it was a lot of them walking around just like they was in the Civil War, I promise you.
You know, the thing about it is, too, Trey McMillan, who got hurt, and one of the first plays of that game. True to Trey McMillan's form, when I saw a video of that run, yeah, he got hurt, but it was Trey McMillan, and it was a phenomenal run that he got hurt on. I mean, that guy is something special.
Yeah, he's a good football player. I mean, it's no secret. You know, he touched the ball one time against Murphy, and they stuffed him out of line at the point of attack, and he spins out and goes 57 yards. And he's just that type of player. And we miss him. And Trey's a phenomenal kid. Besides being just a wonderful football player. And hopefully we're going to get him back soon. And he's going through rehab right now, and trying to get his strength back and his flexibility. And Trey's going to be back for
Elbow,
us. It
right?
is his elbow.
I know one thing you've been very impressed with is the film you've looked at from McGill too and get ready for tonight's game.
You know, when I watch these guys on film, I really wanted to throw up. They're that good. I mean, Caleb Ross.
That's a compliment, Coach
that
Ross.
is
It
a
really
compliment. Me and Coach Ross goes a long way back, and he was at Prattville, and his teams are so well prepared and coached. I mean, he's a phenomenal play caller. I mean, McGill is strong in all three phases, the defense, offense, and kicking game. They don't beat themselves, and they got a chip on their shoulder. Man, those guys are playing hard, and we got our hands full now. Coach Ross is doing a phenomenal job at McGill.
Oh, well, we're excited for the kickoff coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll have you back in the last set. Great to meet you, Gavin. Be safe out there. Be safe out there tonight, and we'll come back. We'll hear the McGill side of things. Caleb Ross, the head coach, will be with us. D'Anthony Filan joins us as well. It's McGill and Baker tonight here on UTV 44. Brandon Phillips, Injury Lawyers, Game of the Week here on UTV 44. Tonight we've got Baker and McGill. We've heard the Hornets side. Now let's find out the Yellow Jackets side. Caleb Ross, head coach. D'Anthony Filan, linebacker, here with us to talk all about the matchup. Coach, we were just talking with Danny Smith and got the job late in the season. Now you're at your second year at McGill as the head coach. Off to a great start. Having that second year, and now everything in place for you, it seems like things are certainly in the direction you want them to be going at McGill.
That's right, and me and Danny were talking before, and I've been in his shoes. You get the job in the summertime, and you think you're ready, but all of a sudden now all this responsibility, all these things you got to do, and you really don't have time to prepare. Well, now you got a full year. This is my second year into it. It's my program. We can put the coaches I want in place, from Booster Club to everything we do. We're going to still do the things we did that won, but we're going to put our touch on it. And now you just feel so much more prepared, more ready for a season than you were this time last year.
Coach, I got a chance to visit with you earlier today. If you could just give our viewers an idea of what did you find at McGill that kind of surprised you? What about the school, the community?
It's a special place. There's so many people that graduated from McGill. You're talking about three and four generations of people, of grandparents and great-grandparents, and support that McGill has in Mobile. I mean, there's a lot of McGill grads that live and work throughout Mobile, and it's important to them. And they take pride in that school and what it stands for, and the type of kids we have. It's just really special. It's really an honor for me to lead the men we have. I mean, we got good young men that are going to go be leaders in the world. And it's really exciting to be their head coach.
Talk about the young man you've got with us here tonight.
Coach, he's the heart and soul of our defense. He's a guy that doesn't talk a whole lot, but he's one of those guys when he speaks, they listen. And man, they're going to go as he goes. And he's been there for now 2 years. And our defense is doing a phenomenal job. They're flying to the football. Got a new defense coordinator, Ernest Hill's doing a great job. But D'Anthony's our leader on that defense, and they know it. So when he speaks, they listen. He gets everything right. And there's a couple times when there may be an issue, and D'Anthony be like, Coach, we'll take care of it. And it gets handled. It does. And he's just one of those guys. Just a great football player.
Talk about what Friday nights mean to you. Obviously, you're a good practice player, too, or you want to be on the field. But Friday night, describe it to us. You're about to come out of the tunnel. It's a big game. What's going through your mind and your emotions?
At first, I'm always kind of anxious about it, but then, like, when the first play get going, I get used to it, and it's just like practice, because, like, we practice the same plays and the same things, and, like, the game situations, and it's just the same to me.
I think after the first play, the opponents get a little anxious. and the way that, I know that you're a McGill guy, that's where you've been, but do you realize that the way you go about practice is different than other teams? Just describe, if you could, a little bit of what a McGill practice is like.
It's details. Like, we do all like the little things right, and it's, we know where to go, and, like, when to go there, and, like, how to do the drill, and when to do the drill, and our coaches do a great job in preparing us.
Constant motion.
Constant motion.
Danny, I don't know if you heard him when you're sitting over there, talked about the schedule 7A, like the SEC West, and you're right in the thick of it just like he is.
It's brutal. I mean, we played Fairhope last week. Now we play Baker. I mean, you got that run where you're going to play the Murphys and the Theodores and the Foleys and the Fairhopes and the Bakers. It is week in and week out, but it does make it fun for a coach. It does. It's exciting, makes it for a challenge, but it is brutal. It is. But it's what high school football
And
is
it's where
all
you want to
about.
be, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
you want to be playing
That's right.
the best of the best week in and week out.
That's right. It's very exciting. I know the kids enjoy it too.
But you'd rather be playing the best of the best with a team that's 1 year older than last year,
There's
right?
no doubt.
Because
There's
a
no
lot
doubt.
of these guys actually kind of took some lumps last year.
They did.
And had to live through it. And now, I guess by around the springtime, you were thinking, okay, we're going to see some dividends here.
That's right. You know, we did. We had to play a lot of young guys, and we lost a lot of close games last year. But that built that character for our kids, and that's led them through this off season. They were motivated, and I couldn't be more proud of a group. And I think every coach says we've had a great off season. I get that, but we have. We've had an unbelievable off season, going back to the way we train, competed in the weight room, to a spring game, to 7-on-7, and into the early start we had. I'm just proud of our kids, because it means something to them, and they don't want to have the season we had last year either. And they've got a chip, and that's bad. We got a chip on our shoulder, but you know it's a tough region. You play a team, Baker, who's, man, their back's against the wall, and I told Danny earlier, man, their team is his personality. They fly to the ball, they're intense, man, they are nasty on defense, and man, we go back a long way calling against one another. I can still remember the Davidson defenses, and we couldn't get a first down. You know what I mean? It's no different with him but Baker, and it's going to be a battle, and we know that.
You know, the kids love it on, you talk about the kids loving on Friday night. Obviously, that's the Friday night. But that chess match part of it, I mean, that's still got to be what really gets it for guys like you and Danny on Friday night.
Oh, it is. It's exciting. You know, talking about D'Anthony players getting nervous, I still get nervous for games, and I think it'll never change. I think that's a special thing about the game of football, that it never changes. It could be 15 minutes before kickoff, and I still got that anxious feeling. It's not, it's just the excitement, you know what I mean? But you want to see how you perform, but that's the fun part of it. But at the end of the day, it's putting your kids in position. Those guys got to go out and make that play, you know what I mean? So.
You can share with them, too, that, you know, these big games,
Yeah,
we talk about it.
no doubt. You feel it.
In the booth, we'll talk about it before kickoff, how, wow, we know we've got a big audience tonight because it's going to be a great game, and we get a little butterflies, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get a text from Dan at 4:15 in the morning. He said, big one tonight, big one tonight. He's ready to go.
Well, I'm up.
Yeah, D'Anthony, great to see you. Coach, stay here. We'll come back and talk with Danny Smith as well, as we'll get you more ready for the kickoff. We're about 10 minutes away. It's Baker and McGill tonight here on UTV 44. Baker Band ready for tonight's game here on UTV 44. Baker and McGill as we get ready for this one. Kickoff about 10 minutes away. We've got Danny Smith, head coach of Baker, here with us. Caleb Ross, head coach of the Yellow Jackets. Before
We're not going to bring Tom Cruise back?
no, he's, yeah, we'll have. He might be on during the game with us. We'll have him on during the game. Hey,
I love that kid.
Before we get to our funny little questions here, a high school football story that unfortunately has been in the news all week long in Texas, where the two players hit the official from both sides. And obviously, there's certainly no part, that's no part of high school football and not what we see. But what was your reaction when you saw that?
Like most people, stunned. You know, I mean, the first thing, they need to be prosecuted. I mean, that's something criminal, and that's no part of what football needs to be a part of. No matter how upset or frustrated you get, man, that's not football.
Yeah.
That's really, when you start doing that, get the football out of the way. That's something that's criminal. You know what I mean? So I really believe that.
Yeah, and certainly it's just shocking to see.
They need to be prosecuted. I mean, it was something I couldn't believe it when I saw it. You know, my blood pressure just went up just visualizing that and seeing it. I mean, that man's out there. They don't hardly, they don't get paid a lot.
Right.
He's his time on a Friday night, something good for the for high school.
He's doing it because he loves being out there.
Absolutely, and then to do that to him, that is uncalled for. You know, it's just total lack of class.
You know, I talked to Jimbo Perez,
Yeah.
longtime official. You know Jimbo,
Absolutely.
and you probably do as well, on KSJ this morning about it. I just thought he'd be a good voice of consideration for something as bizarre as that. And he said, you know, officials do get hurt during games. He said, we get hurt, we get hit, we get in the middle of plays. And he said, but in terms of ever being fearful, he said, you know, you get yelled at a little bit on the way out of a stadium. But that's about it. And he said, I don't know exactly what to say about it because I've never seen or even considered anything like that.
Yeah, and I thought the one that you could, not that you could understand it or justify it, but you could see a crazed fan or a parent doing something more than two young impressionable players. That was sad.
Disturbing.
And no part of high school football, and not something we see around here. All right, so our silly little questions to wrap up the show, as we always do. NFL opens this week. Team you most closely follow?
Probably the Atlanta Falcons.
Falcons.
Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Like the Saints.
Like the Saints. All right. I'm just gonna say, Bears fan, it's going to be a very, very long year of Sunday afternoons for some of us.
Been a long few decades, hasn't it?
last time you went bowling, Coach?
Oh, wow. Probably about 2 years ago. Took my wife for her birthday. So.
About a year ago, I took the family to midnight bowling with the lights and stuff on.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, a couple of years ago. Eastern Shore.
100 years. You can spend 15 minutes with any living person. Who would you like to hang out with 15 minutes?
I'm already
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
I'm already here.
A living person. My goodness. Nick Saban. I don't know, man. Just on Alabama. Pick his brain a little bit.
Probably any coach.